We will now explore the use of narrative therapy in dietetic practice through an interview conducted with accredited practicing dietitians, Tim and Megan, who both have their own private practices in which they coordinate one-on-one consultations. The interview had pre-planned open-ended questions, and they started off general, inquiring about the rapport building with patients, but then more particularly focused on the aspects of narrative therapy. The key findings from the survey were that both dietitians followed an approach similar to narrative therapy unknowingly, and that narrative therapy constitutes a big part of the HAES approach, which I'll discuss more on later. It's useful in diagnosing patients with eating disorders, and certain limitations do exist when implementing this into practice. Both dietitians claimed that they use narrative therapy in practice, even though they weren't necessarily aware of this counselling technique. The reason why it may be so innate, according to the interviewees, is because understanding a patient's story is crucial before any intervention plan, and counselling should be patient-focused anyway. To meet the patients with where they're at, you need to understand their background and work with them so they can eventually feel motivated enough to narrate their own story and not be shaped by their past. One of the dietitians integrated narrative therapy into the practice through a HAES approach. HAES is a weight-neutral approach to health, and practitioners believe a focus on healthy behaviours rather than a focus on reducing body size is the most useful way to support people of all sizes to take care of their health. It involves focusing on replacing negative ideas with positive ones, with an emphasis on patient-focused approaches and individualising care. The key aim is to make patients feel in control of their lives so they can reshape their story. So you can see that the key principles of narrative therapy underpins this approach. Another use of narrative therapies is in diagnosing eating disorders, which cannot be medically diagnosed if their story has not been told, as it is so heavily impacted on other psychological and social factors. Patients with eating disorders often need more time to open up due to the range of psychological influences behind their eating behaviours. Hence, this is a perfect opportunity for narrative therapy, which centres around the idea of storytelling. Although frequently used and almost innate to the interview dietitians, narrative therapy is not always easy to integrate into practice. As it is quite personal, a one-on-one consultation is most suitable, but this can limit its transferability to the broader dietetics field of group intervention, where less personal or invasive approaches such as behavioural therapy would be used. Also, in hospital settings, patients are often too unwell to tell you their full story, and so you'd ask more direct questions addressing the key aspects required for dietary intervention, which is most likely to be a short-term goal. Patients are then referred to a practicing dietitian in the community to address their long-term dietary goals. The interviewees provided an insight on how to integrate narrative therapy into practice. Encouragement plays a large role here. The dietitian must enable them to see that food is neither good or bad, and that you are here to help guide and support them rather than to judge. Saying that you are not the food police may help them feel more at ease. This leads to the next point of discouraging negative thoughts and looking for positive ones. The dietitian should reinforce the patient that they have the power to control their lives. Viewing areas of improvement, for example binge eating, as things that they can work on rather than labelling these as negative aspects of their life changes the mindset and helps them feel more empowered and capable. This is similar to externalizing the issue, which I addressed earlier. Personalizing dietary interventions and emphasizing that you are here to meet them where they are also makes them feel more comfortable in disclosing their story, as they won't fear the need to meet expectations. Sticking to open-ended questions increases the chance of patients opening up. This then allows the dietitian to explore the background behind their eating patterns. Encouraging family members to accompany them to consultations can not only make them feel more relaxed, but it also enables the dietitian an opportunity to build rapport by asking about the culture. They can research about this later, and patients will value this and will be much more likely to return. And of course, this is a big part of successful behavioural change. Last but certainly not least, being empathetic shows the patient that you care and that they can trust you to help them in rewriting their narrative.